Hello, my friend. Is there anything in life that you really, really, really like to have or do, or maybe even be? But there's a part of you that rejects even wanting that because you believe that if you want it, you can't have it anyways. That's what you tell yourself. So why bother even wanting it? So you don't allow yourself to dream. You don't allow yourself to imagine. So what's at the core of that? Not even allowing yourself to want what you actually do want, at the core of that is being disappointed. So growing up as a child, because it all starts in childhood, and then we continue on from there and create experiences through what happened as a child or wounds as a child. So as a child, you were disappointed over and over and over and over again. Might have started off really, really small. But gradually, every time you wanted for something or you hoped something, you hope that daddy would give you a hug. You hope that mommy would have you time to take you somewhere. You hoped for, it doesn't matter if it's big or little when you're a child and you're hoping for something. So you want something and you're disappointed. You learn pretty quickly that whenever you want something or you hope something is going to happen, you're going to be disappointed. And ultimately, you end up being disappointed over and over and over again until you have learned to not even want for something or hope that things will get better or that you can have something or that you can create something. Because you believe through experience that at the end of all that, you're going to be disappointed. So one of two things can happen here. You don't even dream or vision or want for things because it's like, why bother? I'm just going to be disappointed anyways. It's not going to happen anyways. Or the other is, see, when you're growing up and you have a repeated emotional experience, that can become really familiar. So the disappointment becomes familiar to you. And so as an adult, you create experiences over and over again where you're constantly disappointed because what you're looking for is that emotional hit. It's almost like an addiction. Even though it's not that you don't want to be disappointed, but you want that emotional feeling again of being disappointed, not the disappointment, but because it's familiar, because you grew up with that. What's familiar is being disappointed over and over and over again. And what's familiar is comforting. What's comforting is your comfort zone. So you're constantly creating situations where you're disappointed over and over and over again. And if you've gotten to a place where it's happened enough times, you might be, you know what, I'm just not even going to dream, vision, want for anything because I'm just going to be disappointed. Because finally the pain has gotten so bad that why would I do that when I'm just going to be disappointed? There you go. Take a deep breath in, let go. So let's start with the addiction to being disappointed. That it's like a familiar emotional feeling. It's toxic and it's dysfunctional, and you know that as an adult, but it's familiar. In moments of stress, we default to our comfort zone, we default to what's familiar. And when that wound of disappointment is still within you, childhood wounds are very, very magnetic because there's so much emotion in that wound that it's got that emotion has a magnetism to it. And that's the power of childhood wounds to draw to yourself the very thing you don't want, you no longer want. So if you're constantly hoping something will happen, wanting, dreaming, and constantly being disappointed, it's that emotional wound, that childhood wound of being disappointed over and over again. It has such a magnetic charge, because it hasn't been healed yet, that you're literally creating the very thing you don't want in your life. So let's look at disappointment. So the first thing that comes in is being disappointed in yourself. I took this action that should have happened. I spent all my time, effort, money, focus on this, and it didn't happen. So constantly you're disappointed. And now, because you're an adult, before where you could be disappointed in somebody else, mom, dad, somebody else growing up, and you felt that personally growing up, now you're disappointed in yourself. And so all the ways that childhood wound of disappointment holds such a magnetic charge within yourself that you have created a life where, as much as you desire, want, hope for something, you're constantly being disappointed. There you go. And any ways in which you're either pointing the finger to somebody else, so you're blaming somebody else. When we blame somebody else, we give our power away. When we blame somebody else, we become helpless and powerless. So by blaming somebody else or circumstances, you are causing yourself to be weak. So let go of blaming others. So any ways in which you are blaming others for your disappointment, or you're blaming yourself for being disappointed, let's acknowledge that that's a childhood wound within you that has created some very toxic circumstances in your life. And allow yourself to release the need to feel disappointed because it feels familiar. And that's your comfort zone. So as we're speaking, we're gathering all this up and sending it to the light. Just send that. Just let it rise up and send to the light. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let go. Now there's an emptiness within you. See the energy, emotion, energy and vibration and frequency of disappointment has taken up so much space within you and has played such a big part in creating your life and experiences in your life that as it's released, there's an energetic space within you. And that can cause you to feel empty. See, and when you feel empty within yourself, then that can cause you to feel alone, feel like nobody cares. And then ultimately it's a cycle. You just keep creating that again. So right now, there's an empty energetic space within you. So what would you like to fill that up with emotionally? Happiness, gratitude, appreciation, feeling inspired, creative, uplifted, joyful, peaceful, energized. What do you want to fill that space up within you? See, what most of us do when we do our inner work, we'll release something that our childhood wound and feel really good, but we won't fill up that space within us. Because when you release something, there's space within you. We stop there and we don't fill up the space with what we choose, what we desire. So what are the emotional states that you desire? If it's, I'd love to feel happy for no reason, choose that. I'd love to feel peace within me. So my nervous system would just relax and feel calm and peaceful. My brain would relax. My whole self would relax. If you want to feel energized and inspired, choose that. But you actually choose it. When you choose something, you send an intentional frequency out to the universe. So choose it. So if you have a pen and paper right now, write down 1, 2, 3, even 5 emotional states of being that you would like to experience. And then say, I choose feel happy. I choose to feel energized. I choose to feel inspired. Whatever you're looking for. Okay, and take a deep breath in. Let that go. Now you might say, I've done this before. Done it many times. Doesn't work. It does work. But the reason it feels like it doesn't work is because what's familiar to you. Remember, in moments of stress, we default to what's familiar. We default to our comfort zone. What's familiar to you is being let down, is disappointment, is what you want and desire not happening. That's what you're used to. However long you've lived on this planet in this lifetime, that's been happening to you. So it's familiar. So when you do something once, twice, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times, you choose those higher vibrational emotions. That's not enough. You want to do it over and over again. I shouldn't say it's not enough. Delete that. It starts the process of creating that energy within you, but your habit is to give up and to default to what's familiar, your comfort zone. But if you continue every day to choose, I choose to feel good about myself. I choose to appreciate myself. I choose to feel happy for no reason. You wake up in the morning. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but you get into the habit of saying, this is what I choose. And then give yourself permission during the day to notice if you feel even a brief moment of happiness. You feel even a brief moment of peace. And see, what we focus on, what we give attention to, we give energy to, we will get more of in our lives. So when you focus on, oh, you know what? I felt happy and peaceful for a moment. Your mind, your brain, your nervous system, your whole self notices that and says, hey, if it happened once, it can happen again. So let's pay more attention to noticing that, because in that moment, I felt really good. That actually felt really good. So you start to notice that, pay attention to that, and then you start to pay less attention to your default of giving up and disappointment and how that makes you feel. So this does work, but it takes time. It might take months, years. I know they say a habit happens, and some people say 21 days, 28 days. But there are also biological changes taking place within you, plus your brain. What fires together, wires together. So if you were experience disappointment over and over again as a child, you learn to give up because you're going to be disappointed anyways, or it doesn't happen anyways. That's what's been firing in your brain. That's what's wired together. Those are belief systems. The more you focus on how you choose to feel, uplifting, inspiring emotional states of being, that's what starts to fire together and eventually will wire together in your brain. And what you're not giving a focus to any longer, being disappointed, giving up, being let down, that starts to, actually, it just lets go. That belief system, it will just let go in your brain. And new belief systems will form in your brain. There you go. Your whole self relaxed. There's some happiness bubbling up. So notice that right now in this moment, just notice that happiness and notice how your heart has opened. So your heart wants to feel good. You want to feel good. So notice that. Again, what you notice and acknowledge and pay attention to, energy flows in that direction and it will come back to you. That energy will come back to you. There you go. Take a deep breath in. Let that go. There you go, my friend. Namaste.